Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Property Committee meeting, August 24th, 8 a.m. We're going to work from the agenda as we usually do. So I'll get started with the first item if anybody has any questions before we get started. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, so first agenda item is the Old Enfield property update. So as everyone is aware, we did receive land development approval from the township, which put all the wheels in motion again. So the construction team did provide us with an updated schedule. So just some of the key dates is we're starting to get all the bid specs all together and everything so we can go out for bid. So we're looking to hopefully do a pre-bid meeting and have a bid opening in November. So October, November, we'll be putting it out there. We hope to have a recommendation to the board in December. And demolition would start in March of 2022. We're hoping the completion date would be around August, the end of August 2022. There is one board action that will be required. We have to do a resolution to close the building. So that would be sometime in November. And we'll get you all these dates and make sure everybody's aware. We also, a lot of the public did come to us and they would like to tour the building before it gets demolished. So at some point, Dr. Yannico and we'll all figure out what that date will be. And I guess we'll let everybody know when we'll tour. We'll make it as safe as possible for everybody that wants to tour around the building. You know, it's been just housing furniture and, you know, sitting there pretty much vacant. So we'll get everybody in there for the final tour. So that's our first item. Anybody have any questions? Okay.
Okay, I'm just curious if I can, not that this is meaningful, I'm just curious. Assuming the completion date in August happens, what did the final delay end up being? About a year and a half?
I think it was. Yeah. It was quite extensive. Yeah. We were trying to get the fields open actually this spring. So it really everything got pushed back, to be honest with you, or last spring, I think it was. So
yeah. Okay. No, thanks. I was just curious. It's not nothing anybody could do. It's just
some people requested bricks. They want a few of the bricks from the old building. So I'm sure we'll work something out. A former principal had asked for an internal plaque of the building. He was the principal when they did some renovations years ago. So we're getting requests like that. So we'll figure all that stuff out and we'll get it underway. All right.
Mr. Thorne, sorry, one other question. Assuming everything does wrap up in August of 2022, how does that affect any of the sport teams that plan to use the fields at that time? Does that make it to the seasons that they would be looking to utilize the fields?
Yeah, for the fall sports, it will. Unfortunately, the spring softball for the middle school won't be able to use it this spring 2022, but the middle school soccer the program, they'll be able to use it. Football, anybody. It's a rotating. When any of the athletic clubs there at the middle school need a field, they'll be able to go over there and use them. So that'll be ready for next fall. Okay. All righty. Item number 2 on the agenda is the 21 summer projects update. So we have completed or they're ongoing. The projects include the administration new carpet and painting, installation of the county emergency call buttons, additional AEDs were put in all the buildings. We replaced some HVAC unit controllers at the middle school and Erdenheim. The LED light fixture upgrade project is still ongoing. We painted the Erdenheim student bathrooms. That's still ongoing, actually. We replaced the carpet in the high school auditorium. We also painted a majority of the high school hallways and stairwells, the school colors. So that turned out really good. At the middle school, we put in new concrete sidewalk around the main entrance and also over by the cafeteria. And we installed the new electronic message board in front of the high school entrance there, which really looks nice, great graphics there. So we got a lot of projects done. They all look nice. We should have them all wrapping up shortly. So I just wanted to mention the summer projects that we didn't get to was the transportation roof replacement, and also now the middle school student wing roof has been opening up, seams are opening up, so we've had the roofer in there repairing there as well. So there are some of the summer projects we'll do, be on the list for next year. But all in all, successful summer. So all the projects went really well. So any questions or? Alrighty, item number 3, the new Enfield school traffic signal update and student walkers. So the township is waiting for PennDOT to approve their plans for the traffic signals. Their engineer is developing the bid specs, and they'll have them ready after PennDOT's approvals. They haven't supplied us with a schedule of when they're actually going to install these traffic signals. So once they get all their approvals from PennDOT and get everything together, they'll let us know when that's going to happen. So the maintenance department will be providing traffic duty down there at the new school for the start of the school year and make sure everybody's okay. So that's it, other than the student walker update. I'm not sure if Nate is in with us already.
Thanks, Craig. Before Nate pops on, I just wanted to highlight on this traffic signal update. You may recall we had some inquiries from members of the community with concerns about safety and walking children to school and traffic flow right out on Montgomery Avenue directly in front of Enfield. So it's going to be important that maintenance is there. Last year, between April and June, we had about 95% of our students attending 4 days a week. So we did get comfortable with traffic patterns. We're going to go from 95 to 99. So a few more students coming in. And there were actually very few walkers crossing at Paper Mill and Montgomery. I think it was 2 consistently using that light. So hopefully it won't have a huge impact. But ideally, this will be completed sometime this fall. And then with the student walker update overall, you may have had feedback from members of the community that last year, up until the very end of the year, we only had 1 door for walkers to enter. And so there was concern about, depending on where a family would drop a child off, that they had to walk all the way around the building. So Dr. Markle has worked on a plan for us to have 2 entrances for walkers. We're going to have members of our staff at the Paper Mill entrance to Enfield who will greet walkers that arrive there and escort them into that side of the building near the cafeteria. And we'll also have staff who are greeting at Yakel who will then take them in the back door. So we're going to make it a little bit more convenient for families. Craig is also installing a bike rack, which was requested by some members of the community at the Yakel circle there, because a number of the children are riding their bikes to come to school. Any questions about any of that before we get into the actual change in, or we're basically returning to our original plan for walker zones. Okay. So we do anticipate feedback from the community, in particular, Nate, I believe it's 22 students or families that are impacted by the return to the half-mile zone. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think if memory serves, I think it was 18 families, but about 22 students.
Okay. So I don't know whether any of you had a chance to take a look at those zones, but essentially there's a handful of streets adjacent to the new Enfield building where they are within our board policy of a half-mile to the school. And so they should be in the walk zone. And last year, because of several factors, including the fact that we were in hybrid, The building had just opened. Dr. Hacker decided that we would, in November, bus those children. But it was meant to be a temporary situation, and we would now resume our standard if you're a half mile away or within a half mile, you walk. So we just wanted to make sure that you were all aware and that you still felt comfortable with that. The families affected will not agree with this decision. We just want to make sure you're aware of that.
No, it makes sense. You have my support.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
Well, Walter, it sounds good to you? Okay. All right. Okay, terrific. So Nate will send out that notice, and we'll get moving on the new walkers path. Nate, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I don't think so. You know, unless there's specific questions that can be answered. It was a concise summary that you did. I'm good with it.
Okay.
I do have one
Thanks.
question. Is there a standard approach to a family requesting accommodations if for any reason they were significantly uncomfortable with the walking?
Do you want me to mention that, Mary Jo?
Sure, Nate, absolutely.
Okay. So there's not necessarily a standard other than to make recommendations on how they can take what we feel might be a better route from their house, or we will help them with recommendations on just best practices as far as safely walking to school. What we will often see some of is families that then start to mention that they need special accommodations, maybe related to a student disability, at which point we in transportation will just refer them to student services and say, hey, listen, that's not really, you know, I don't know enough about your child. Please work with student services. And if it's deemed that that is appropriate, that certainly will get transportation set up. But overall, it's open a dialogue with the family, listen to their concerns, investigate where appropriate, which is a big piece of why transportation was granted last year, so that we could do additional investigation, excuse me, for the specific area that they had concerns about. And in this case, we just found through taking a look at traffic flow and seeing students walk on those roads that we don't share the same concerns that the roads are too busy to be walked on.
Yeah, for Nate just mentioned, so Kara, Nate, and I drove those roads at different times of day. Nate has driven them quite a bit at different times of day just to monitor traffic flow and make sure that he was able to fully answer any questions from families. And I also want to mention, though it's not related to item number 3, later we're going to talk about the storm damage to the turf fields. Craig, would you speak a little bit about the storm damage to the bus garage while Nate is with us?
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but when we have these severe storms, the township's pond right there at the bus garage just overflows, gets inundated with water. And Nate has anywhere from 2 to 3 feet of water that washes up against all the bus garage doors. This storm was really heavy. It's the worst I've seen since I've been here, where it actually washed up into Nate's office. The water actually went into his office, into the bathroom areas. So it was quite severe. The township did come down. They were moving mud and dirt and everything out of the parking lots. Nate had a lot of his crew cleaning up and everything, power washing. But it does take a lot of damage down there. I think it's probably, I'm not sure, Nate, that there's actually a marks on the wall that they put down there that they record the storms and the height of the water. And I'm not sure how many marks they're down there, Nate, but it's happened 5 or 6 times since I've been here. So, yeah.
So I just want to make sure that you're all aware of that. I do have some concerns, and we're going to be, continuing to take a look at it, about a repeated flooding of that area and the impact on the building.
None of the buses were damaged, Nate. I'm sure, right? It's just the building that takes in all the water.
Yeah, correct. Typically, even in the deepest areas, the vehicles are high enough that they are not such an issue. The extent of we're somewhat still evaluating. This most recent flood was just last week, so we're still looking. I think we're having issues with 2 pressure washers that were underwater. We're having issues with some vehicle battery chargers that were underwater. So, definitely this one caught us a little bit more by surprise. So some stuff that if we were expecting the potential for flooding, we might have tried to get a little bit higher. We're subject to water damage. So we're kind of inventorying the bigger ticket items that we may need to look at having repaired or being replaced. But we should know a little bit more about that shortly.
Dr. Yannicka, I'm not sure if you have the pictures that I've sent you.
I do.
Okay.
I can share those with the board members. I can email them. It's
Thank
essentially,
you.
it looks like a mudslide. That's the entire parking lot looked like a mudslide. And while the township did respond, it's a recurring issue that causes me concern given the fact that we can anticipate more severe storms. So just something for us to keep on the radar.
Dr. Yannicka, Mr. Thorne, is there, other than relocation, is there anything that can be done? Because I agree, the more storms we have, and we're just going to get more, the more this is going to keep happening.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't put up barricades or, the erosion and sediment, big pillows that you see around job sites and whatnot. It's just such a low area of the township that so much storm water comes down and it's, floods it out. There's really nothing we can do on our end.
Okay. Thank you.
Mike, you did mention relocation. And interestingly, the township broached the subject with Mr. Thorne about that, but we're not yet prepared to make any recommendations. They did suggest that it might be worthwhile for us to take a look at alternative locations.
That's kind of long term though, right? I mean, you're talking about moving an entire bus fleet and a transportation office and a building. I mean, that's a big project.
Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
I'm more concerned and I know Craig and Nate are assessing this. I just want you to have on your radar that we're going to be taking another look. Last year, we deferred the roof of the bus garage.
Sure.
And we also, and I've asked, just for us to continue to evaluate the structural soundness of the walls if they are repeatedly having water. And then I also don't know what the flooding is underneath the foundation. So.
Sure, those are big concerns.
Yeah. So Craig's continuing to take a look at that, and Nate, because I want us to be mindful that we want to try to maintain the site we have, which means we might need to put a little bit of money into it in order to make sure that it's structurally sound and safe.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But I'll send all of you the pictures.
Quick follow-up question. It sounds like even though there may have been some damage, Mr. Bray, it's relatively superficial. Is the property covered under insurance that covers us for flood damage?
Perhaps Ms. Michaels could tell us about that.
Sorry, I'm getting to the mute button. So we are gathering all the information and working to submit claims. But yes, the bus depot and that property is covered under our general liability policy. So it's part of the school district, just like a building would be. So we are going to submit the claim, and with all the damage and anything that we can recoup, we will recoup through the insurance company.
I pulled up the pictures. If you like, I'll share my screen and just show you a few.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay. Can you see this?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay.
That's a lot of mud.
So that's one angle. This is sort of the debris just after. That's the. So you can see the mud came all the way through the building. This is. Oh, serious. So. This is the front, this is the opposite end furthest away from the pond. This is just, how much mud was brought into the garage. And Craig, you can help me with this, but the force of the water knocked over a dumpster.
It did, yeah. Yeah, we had one storm where a dumpster got completely washed away. We actually never found it. It washed downstream. But you can imagine the force of the water to push a big dumpster like that.
So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. Okay. All right. Any other
Thank you
questions?
for sharing. Nope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Okay. All right, Nate, thanks for joining us.
No problem at all. Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you.
All right, Craig, let's move on to item number 4.
Okay, all right, preparing for the openings of schools. So all the schools have been cleaned and the furniture is going back in place. Our HVA systems have been cleaned, all new filters installed. All the kitchen equipment has been serviced and repaired. All staff members will have an ample supply of PPE for the start of the year. The grounds crews maintaining all the beds and the grass cutting as well. Erdenheim playgrounds will be getting the certified wood chips this week as well installed. So a lot of work goes into getting the buildings ready. This year was challenging because we had so many groups and everything in the building for most of the summer, actually. We had a lot of extra programs running this year. So it's tough to manage the cleaning, the floor waxing and everything with all the extra folks. So, but we're getting there and we'll be ready for the opening of school. All righty. So number 5 on the agenda is the stormwater damage of the turf fields. And we do have pictures of them. I don't know if we have time to show them, but a severe storm occurred last Thursday morning, and it caused damage to the playing surfaces of both the multi-purpose and the stadium field. So what happens is the turf field material itself lifts up off of the base material underneath. It's basically from air pressure and water pressure that causes the fields to lift up. When the storm recedes, the water goes down, the field's turf settles back down and it's wrinkled. It gets wrinkled. So the grounds guys did a great job. They went out there with the field rollers and rolled a lot of these wrinkles back out. So it made it playable, that they can be used, but there's still repair that needs to be done. That turf is like a carpet. I don't know if everybody's seen carpet being installed. They use those carpet kickers where they push them to the tack strips around the edges of the building. So that's basically what has to happen again. They bring out large equipment and they have to stretch the carpet to get all the wrinkles out, repair any seams that were damaged. Thank God there wasn't many, and basically re-secure it to the edge of the fields there. So that's what we came up with. I met there Friday with our construction management firm, turf field representative, and the civil engineer. Unfortunately, this is the second time that the fields have gotten wrinkled from storms. It's the 4th storm event where I seen the one field lifting up from air pressure. But this is the second storm where the field actually got damaged. So we're looking at putting vented manhole covers actually on the perimeter of the multi-purpose field. There's manholes that you can get down into the stormwater system underneath. And we want to relieve the air out of the manhole cover. So we'll put vented covers on them. They're not on the playing surface of the field. They're on the edge. So that was one solution, as well as video camera and the stormwater system underneath the fields as well. Seeing if any of the pipes got damaged during construction, or there's a lot of debris in them. So maybe some of that crumb rubber has washed into some of the stormwater piping. So there's some of the things we're looking at for a long-term fix, making sure these fields don't lift any further. So it was quite a storm. Unfortunately, it only happens on these really heavy, severe storms where you get an inch and 2 inches an hour. But it does happen. We want to prevent it. That's what we're looking at. Again, I'm working with the engineers and everything. We'll come up with a plan for a permanent fix.
Thank you.
So, yeah, so we do have a home football scrimmage Friday, and I think a soccer game Thursday as well. So we're hoping we can get out there and have those two events. The company that does the carpet stretching gave us a preliminary date of this Wednesday or Thursday. They'll be out to make the repairs. So that's what we're hoping for. Again, the field surfaces are playable, but we want to get them repaired properly.
I know at least one of you had asked last week what was the impact on on our programs as well as the athletic programs in the community. And we did hold off that day and early afternoon, but thankfully the maintenance department, Mr. Thorne had purchased some equipment that helps us essentially to do some rolling out in advance to make it playable. So we had minimal impact on programming, despite the fact that, you know, it's a repair that needs to be done and is covered by insurance, but we were able to minimize the impact on program. So that was positive.
All righty. So number 6 on the agenda is the rooftop HVAC air cleaning equipment. So all our HVAC equipment that services larger areas, cafeterias, gymnasiums, and large calming areas will be receiving bipolar ionization equipment. So these devices clean the airstream with the use of positive and negatively charged ions. They basically attract the contaminants out of the airstream in the HVAC equipment, such as viruses. They do handle the COVID virus, and they remove them from the airstream. So it's like a bug zapper. If you've all seen bug zappers, basically that's what we install in the units, and they attract the viruses, molds, and everything, odors, and they take them out of the airstream. So this is the ESSER's funds. We were able to purchase this equipment. So we're doing 16 of the larger air handlers that are up on the roof. So, you know, it's a good thing. We'll clean up the air in some of these larger spaces the best we can. So that'll be coming up shortly. They'll be able to work up on the roofs even when school starts. So that's just an improvement we're doing there. So that's it for the agenda. Anybody, any questions?
No, but I can't leave without making a comment. Finally, bipolar meaning something good.
There you go.
My wife can rest assured.
It is a positive thing, Walter, absolutely.
There
I
you
will
go.
tell you,
Yeah. I just want to thank you because I think the weather keeps getting more and more dramatic over time. At least that's what I've noticed in my 40 plus 10 or 11 years of life. You see, I haven't turned 50 yet. And you guys do a remarkable job of taking care of the facilities. They look exceptional. I do have a slight comment though. So I was at the tennis courts behind the high school, the new ones.
Right.
And I don't know if you've noticed, there's already cracks forming around the post that holds the net.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know if we're doing something, if there's a warranty on the work, but it's a shame to have a facility as beautiful as that not be attended.
Yep. Thank you for letting me know. I'll definitely address it. Yep. I'll go out there and look at it right now. Actually.
Yeah, and if you could just tell the little kids not to laugh at me when I play. Because they criticized.
Oh,
But
and I did want to mention, Mr. Thorne, I think it would be worthwhile for the board members to know about the runoff from Paper Mill Road. I do think, just as a point of information, they should have that.
certainly. So ever since the township put their new facility in across the street, we've had flooding on Paper Mill Road, basically right in front of the stadium. There was flooding there before, but ever since they built their building, it seems to be excessive. So what's happening is the water's running down and pooling on Paper Mill Road, and it actually crests the curb line. and it washes down into the stadium. So it's actually introducing more stormwater than the system, intended. The way it was designed, we didn't design to take stormwater off of Paper Mill Road as well. So I did reach out to Mr. Taylor from the township, told him what was happening. He said he was aware of it. He said he's been trying to work with PennDOT. It's a PennDOT highway about putting some new inlets in and getting that water to go around. Basically, Fraser Road is where it should be running off. So we did make them aware. It is an issue. So our engineer was going to look into possibly how much more water is coming off the road surface being introduced into our, stormwater management system. So I'm not sure if you're aware, Fraser Road, a lot of the neighbors down at the back of the field house, they had a lot of stormwater issues there as well over the years. And we've addressed that. They've been pretty happy with us back there, thank God, as long as we keep the bushes trimmed and the grass down. But there's no stormwater issues back there currently, so that's a good thing.
I have a question. So how do we make sure that we're not spending the school district's money fixing the township's problem? Because I think we're the kind neighbor. Apparently we're doing a walkway in front of some random person's house. And now so that would be my concern, that we don't put ourselves out there that we are the fixer of everyone's problems, because they're going to allow us to do that, is my concern.
Right. Yep. So I did express that to Mr. Taylor, and that'll be further conversations with him as well. What type of buffer or some kind of barrier can we put up on school property that would stop that water from coming, cresting over and coming down the hill?
Well, I guess my question would be, what can they do to keep it from even getting to the schools, because we didn't create the problem?
Correct. Yep.
I would rather not spend our money fixing their problem. That's what I'd have to say.
I understand that totally. Yeah. So that's when he did mention working with PennDOT and everything about new inlets and how to address that. So again, they're aware of it, but I think now we can at least have conversation with them that this is affecting our stadium and it is their problem and they need to do the addressing, not us.
Could we, just to make Walter's question more tangible, for the next property committee meeting, could we do a deep dive on what we believe is the township's responsibility, and even document what we would think would be the next steps that would be required for the township to help alleviate the issue for the school?
So yeah, I can have our engineers take a look at that and prepare some kind of written statement for us about the impact of the water shedding off of the roadway and coming into our system. Yep, absolutely.
That'd be good. And then I'm open to, if appropriate, even doing a meeting with some of the property committee board members with any of the township commissioners, just to discuss what might be appropriate, so that it's not just on your shoulders, Mr. Thorne.
That's fine. Yep. I'm all
I would
for it.
support that too.
No problem.
I
Thank
think we would appreciate that. I know both the issues at Cisco Park around the flooding of the pond and this issue of water flow from Paper Mill Road are items that we could work on with the township to try and see if we can come to an agreement that will not have us continually incurring insurance expenses.
Very good. Absolutely.
And frankly, keep keep things moving. None of the buses were affected, as Nate said. So if it were a school day, we still would have been able to get the buses out, transport children. But it's still a significant cost in responding. So it would be important for us to keep moving on this with the township.
And we got sort of lucky in that regard, right, Dr. Yannicon? In other words, it just happened that the water didn't hit the buses this time, but it could next time.
It could. I mean, given, as we know, unfortunately, we're anticipating more severe storms. The issue here, and Mr. Thorne can clarify if I misspeak, was not that we had a lot of rain. It was that we had a lot of rain in a short period of time.
Yeah.
So whereas over the weekend, we didn't have these flooding issues because it was a steady, extended rain. The issue on Wednesday evening was because it poured in a short period of time. And so the catchment system we have just isn't equipped to handle that volume of water.
Correct.
Okay. And, you know, obviously all of these things have an impact on the life of the turf, which is its own expense. Eventually, we're hoping to get, 8 to 10 years out of the turf carpet, which is what that's you can expect.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I also, while we're all here, I appreciate you recognizing the hard work Mr. Thorne's been doing all summer. The campus, I thank you, Walter. The campus does look fantastic. And Craig and his team have done a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. It looks great.
Thank you very much.
All right, everybody. Do you have any other questions for us? So we'll be prepared for the next property meeting, which we're anticipating to be in mid-fall. We'll have information about that tour, the walkthrough plan, celebration of original Enfield before it is raised. And I am in communication with the representative from the Historical Society, who are also interested in taking a few bricks and a few other items from the school. So they're happy that they're being included in conversations.
My request is the asbestos tiles for my basement and my kids' room.
You have to come and dig those out yourself, Walter.
I have the chisel. I'm ready.
Very good. I
Thank
think if you want to make it to 40 and 20, you should probably avoid that project.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think we have PPE for that. So
I don't think we do either. No.
well, you go and enjoy your beautiful view out there while I enjoy the adorable interior of an office without windows.
Sounds good, Walter. Mike, I hope you enjoy the rest of your vacation.
thanks a lot. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye, Jeff.
See you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Take care.